He had nearly $4,000 scattered around his body. Cash, gold, jewelry. His killer left all of it. Blair Adams was found at 7:13 in the morning on July 11th, 1996, in the parking lot of an unfinished motel on Crosswood Boulevard in East Knox County, Tennessee. His pants and underwear had been pulled down to his knees. His shirt had been torn open. He was 31 years old, and he was 1,000 miles from home, in a city he had no reason to be in, and nobody who knew him could explain how he had ended up there. What they could explain, what they had been watching for weeks helplessly, was that Blair Adams had known something was coming. He had been born Robert Dennis Blair Adams on December 28, 1964, in Surrey, British Columbia. People who knew him described someone grounded and consistent, a construction foreman. Reliable, easygoing. He had gone through a difficult stretch earlier in his life. Some drug use, a couple of convictions, a history with alcohol. But by the summer of 1996, he had been sober for 2 years. He had pulled himself level. He had the kind of steadiness that comes from having done the hard work of becoming someone better. His friends trusted him. His boss trusted him. There was nothing about Blair Adams in the June of 1996 that suggested what was about to happen. And then something shifted. In the first days of July, Blair stopped sleeping. His mood became unrecognizable, swinging wildly, unpredictably, in ways that frightened the people around him. He stopped showing up to work with the focus that had always defined him. And then he stopped showing up at all. He quit his job without explanation. He told his friends, his family, and his employer the same thing. Someone was trying to kill him. He was not speaking loosely. He was not venting frustration. He was terrified, in the specific and total way that a person is terrified when they believe their life is genuinely at risk. His close friend, Lisa McDonald, said he was unrecognizable. A ghost of himself, she said, moving through everything with a frantic, desperate urgency, as though every moment counted, as though time had already run out, and he was simply trying to outrun the news of it. What he would not do, what he never did, not once, was name what he was afraid of. On July 5, 1996, Blair walked into his bank and withdrew nearly everything he had. He emptied his safety deposit box completely. Cash, gold coins, platinum, jewelry. He took all of it. He then made his way to a ferry in Victoria, British Columbia, trying to cross into the United States at Seattle, Washington. Immigration officials pulled him aside. The cash was unusual. His prior convictions, drug offenses, assault, made the picture worse. They turned him away at the border. He went back. The same day, Blair paid nearly 1,700 Canadian dollars in cash to a travel agency for a round-trip flight to Frankfurt, Germany. He had a girlfriend there. But he requested a full refund before the day was over. He told them the person he was going to visit had fallen sick. He stayed in Canada. 4 days later, in the early hours of July 9th, Canadian Border Patrol officers found him on foot at the Pacific Highway crossing between Surrey and Blaine, Washington. He was trying to walk across the border in the middle of the night. Officers noticed small scratches on his hands and legs. A blue car had been stolen from Vancouver and found near the same crossing, and Blair matched the description of a suspected thief. But there was nothing concrete to hold him on. They released him back into Canada. The following morning, July 10th, Blair Adams boarded a flight from Seattle to Washington, D.C. He landed, rented a car, and drove through the night toward Knoxville, Tennessee. He had no friends there, no family, no work. No history with the city of any kind that investigators have ever been able to find. His mother later offered one possibility, that he may have been traveling toward Atlanta, roughly 2 hours from Knoxville, to see the 1996 Summer Olympics. It has never been confirmed. Nobody knows why he chose that direction. Nobody knows what he thought was waiting for him there, or what he thought he was leaving behind. Somewhere on Straw Plains Pike in East Knox County, Blair stopped at a BP station. He had locked himself out of his rental car. More precisely, and this detail is one that investigators have never been able to explain, he had the wrong key. He had been using a working key before the stop. At some point between leaving the rental counter and arriving at that gas station, the correct key vanished, and Blair Adams was standing in a parking lot in East Tennessee, holding a key that opened nothing. He called a tow truck. He made arrangements. He checked into a Fairfield Inn near the Knoxville airport. Hotel staff would later remember that he was strange. He walked out of the lobby without his room key, came back, walked around in a way that seemed confused or distracted or afraid. That evening, he was seen at several restaurants with an unidentified man. A composite sketch was made of that man. He has never been identified. It is not known whether he had anything to do with what happened next. What happened next was that Blair Adams died. The cause of death was abdominal perforation. Something struck him in the stomach with tremendous force. A club, investigators believed, or something like a crowbar. The same weapon, or one like it, opened a wound across his forehead. He fought. The forensic evidence made that clear. His killer tore fistfuls of hair from his head. Blair's hands were covered in defensive wounds, and in one of his clenched fists, investigators found hair that did not belong to him. DNA was extracted from that hair. It has been tested against the databases. No match has ever been returned. The money was still there when they found him. The gold coins, the jewelry, the thousands of dollars in Canadian, American, and German currency, lying scattered in the dirt of a parking lot outside a building that wasn't finished yet, off the Straw Plains Road exit of Interstate 40. His killer had stood over everything Blair Adams had spent the last week of his life trying to protect, and had walked away from all of it. This was not a robbery. Whatever this was, it was not a robbery. The Knox County Sheriff's Office still lists the murder of Blair Adams as an active cold case homicide. No suspect has ever been charged. No motive has ever been established. The unidentified man from the restaurants has never been found. The wrong key has never been explained. And whatever Blair Adams believed was hunting him in the first weeks of July 1996, whatever made him quit his job and drain his accounts, and attempt to cross an international border on foot in the dark, has never been named. He spent the last week of his life running, and we still don't know what he was running from. What do you think Blair Adams knew? What was he afraid of that he couldn't or wouldn't say out loud? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Cases like this one only stay alive because people refuse to stop asking questions. And if you think Blair Adams deserves more attention, please like and subscribe. It matters more than you know.